2026 regular scheduled City of Clemson Planning Commission meeting. The meeting is being live streamed and recorded on the City of Clemson's YouTube channel. Tonight, for those of you watching online, you will now be able to see a better view and screens for a split screen. They heard you, it's been implemented. You'll be able to tell who's speaking as well as see better, and your requests have been answered. As a reminder, anybody here tonight who needs assisted listening devices, please see Ms. Kelly Roach. At this time, I'm going to introduce our commissioners, but I want to remind everybody, the Planning Commission is a voluntary committee that is appointed by City Council. It serves as an advisory board in the planning and development of our city. We're not employees of the City of Clemson. Tonight, Commissioner Hyatt, Commissioner Yoder, Commissioner Franks, Commissioner Crowley, and I'm Herb Tyler, the chair for 2026. Thank you. We have a quorum. We're going to begin tonight and have Councilwoman Cheryl come and talk to the Planning Commission.
I'm Windsor Cheryl. I'm a member of the City Council, and thanks for allowing me to be here. Appropriately, the City Council has recognized me as being very thankful to all of our commissions, and so I'm just here to say on behalf of the council and all the members, thank you all for what you all do. All of our commissions are very busy, but this one is particularly a lot of work. And I know I see that your meetings and how you all go through so many processes and work with all of our folks who come before you. I know it's a very challenging commission and all that you do, so we really appreciate all that you do, and I'm taking everybody's input into account. When it comes to public service, my favorite quote is from Teddy Roosevelt, The Man in the Arena, and it talks about how it's really important to be in the arena, and you are doing that. So thank you all for what you do. Again, on behalf of the City Council and the community, we appreciate your service. As you said, it's a voluntary commission, and so you all do a great job volunteering. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and thank City Council for recognizing us. Tonight, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our planning staff is here with us. We have Jacob Peabody, zoning administrator, and we have Art Holbrooks, planning. We have Nathan Woods, assistant city administrator and planning director. And of course, we could not do this without Kelly Roche, our secretary here. So we're going to begin tonight. Again, an overview of Planning Commission. Planning Commission has a lot of different responsibilities. There are things that you've seen in the past where developers come in and do things on plan developments. That's just one thing. The other thing that they have the responsibility is to look at the comprehensive plan to ensure that it's implemented, and the future land use map. And all of this, the Planning Commission is guided by state law. There's a separation between the City Council and Planning Commission, and it's all governed by state law. Within those guidelines of a comprehensive plan are to ensure that it's reviewed, worked on, and implemented. And one of those is different zoning changes. And those are affected because of the land use map that's been adopted. Recently, the adoption of the 2045 comprehensive plan includes a new land use map. And what I would encourage people to do is our planning staff is always receptive to being available, to being able to talk about things, and to be able to explain things further. Within the box that is drawn for us, we have a certain responsibility. And then everything else goes to City Council. And at that point in City Council, that's where they make different decisions, but even based on the recommendation of city staff and of planning. So I would like to also mention, I appreciate everybody coming here, and I'd like to, as I always do, talk about the statement of behavior for all of us. You know, a lot of these issues can go a lot of ways, but every person in the world deserves honor, dignity, and respect. And so in our meetings, we don't want moans and groans and clapping. We want people to be able to feel this is a safe space to express their views. And I just appreciate everybody coming. So with that, we'll go ahead and move forward. We have, on the agenda, you'll see, there's a public comment period, and here's what that's for. There will be public comment on any action items, but there's a public comment period for things that are not on the agenda for tonight. And if it's not on the agenda for tonight, we're going to open that to you. If it is on the agenda tonight and it's an action item, we will have public comment at that time. So what I would say is we're going to call to order our public comment section for things that are not on the agenda. So if there's anybody that would like to speak, come up. We ask that you sign in at the podium. And then when you address council or address planning commission, I'm sorry, that you tell us your name and your address. So that session is open now. Is there anybody that's got something to say that's not on the agenda? And while that's not, we did on June the 1st have somebody write in. It's not on the agenda. Somebody wrote in and said, I've been watching the city grow quickly, even with understandable enticements for making Clemson fantastic. I'd like to enter a note that even before you consider further development, please look before it's too late into revising aesthetics of what has already been constructed in part. I don't know how to copy the Architectural Review Board. And so with that, this is something that I wanted to put in because it was sent in and I'm required to do that. But this is not an issue that the Planning Commission takes up, and it's already been forwarded to the Board of Architectural Review. Anybody else for the public comment session? Okay. Seeing that there's nobody here, I'll close that part of our meeting. And we're going to move to the adoption of minutes for our May 11th, 2026 regular meeting. Have all the commissioners had an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
Any edits or omissions that are noted? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? And it passed. Now we're going to proceed to an informational briefing. Do you have an informational briefing this evening?
Sure. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm just going to double down on some things I've been relaying to you guys recently. Herb unknowingly stole a lot of my thunder just now, but that's all good. So every development that becomes before us brings a certain level of uncertainty. Residents naturally worry about the impacts on their neighborhoods, while developers face financial risk being tied up with unpredictable timelines in front of this commission and city council. When planning commission meetings like this one become highly controversial, it's almost always because the public feels caught off guard by what's in front of them. But we have an antidote to that friction, which is right in front of you, if you brought your copy, but if not, there's one online. It's our comprehensive plan. That plan exists to establish a baseline of predictability. It answers two fundamental questions for this commission and the community: what can be built and where. For homeowners, that plan provides a peace of mind that their neighbors won't face sudden, unvetted changes, and for developers, it provides a clear roadmap or rules of engagement so that they know exactly where the city encourages growth and where it prioritizes status quo. When we make ad hoc exceptions or constantly pivot, we signal that everything before us is up for negotiation. That's when anxiety spikes in front of this commission and the city council. By strictly adhering to the comprehensive plan, we shift our meetings from emotional debates to objective evaluations. Our primary question becomes simple: does this project align with the long-term vision we've already agreed upon? This plan, the comprehensive plan, represents a community-wide consensus forged through months of public input and data. Trusting it honors the collective voice of Clemson over the pressures of the loudest voices at any single public hearing. Let's let the plan do its job so that we can all do ours. And I'll say thank you, but I also wanted to say that Councilwoman Cheryl texted me and said it is a policy that council members don't stay for meetings, so she didn't want you to think that she's uninterested in things that happen tonight, but she left because that's what they do. Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you for the briefing. Tonight, we have 3 action items. The first action item on our agenda tonight is RCNE 000-565-2026, proposed map amendment, Highway 93 and the Abel Road. Staff, are there any update reports, any changes that we need to be made aware of?
There's been no changes to the report.
Okay. I'd like to ask the applicant or Jacob if they would like to update the commissioners on the proposal.
Sure. Go ahead, Sonny.
No.
Is there? Good evening. Commission. Sorry. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so the next one's yours. I just have it.
All right, so we're looking at a proposed.
Tell everybody
Yeah,
who
sure.
you
So my
are,
name
because
is
some
Tom
people
Teasley.
may not.
Absolutely. My name is Tom T.
You can tell them.
I have a local business at 402 College Avenue. We are looking at purchasing land. We already have it under contract based on rezoning, which is what we're here for today. I'm just calling it the Gamble parcel. That's what it's kind of listed at in the deeds. Actual deeding are lots 1 through 3, 16 through 18 on basically the Abel Highway Road. It's got a little survey, not great because it's small, but if we can kind of look at the survey in general. Is there a pointer?
There's not.
There. That doesn't work. We're looking at Highway 93, Abel Road, and then there's a little circle that's going kind of in behind it. If you're kind of looking back in your map, it's the empty lot right there on that road. Interesting thing about this survey, if we'll look at it, is this is an older survey. I'm going to have a new one done, but this is from 2009. So there are 6 lots, but back in even as far back as 2009, this has been viewed as one parcel. It's been corporately owned since I believe 2012. Don't quote me on it, but well over a decade. This has been a corporately owned parcel of land. It's not residential. I mean, while it's zoned residentially, it has been corporately owned since I believe 2012. Just talked about a lot the comprehensive plan that was adopted in February. A great small map. Obviously, we can go look and we can talk to the city administration. They have a much bigger map, but these are sections that are targeted for redevelopment. Again, we can't really see, but along Highway 93 specifically, this parcel of land has been highlighted in red, which is indicating that it has been targeted by the city for. Looked at some land use type stuff. If we will, I'm asking for rezone, so I'm not necessarily looking for building structure size, any of that, but just simply land use. I kind of looked at some similar properties. Basically, I went up 93. The first one is South State Bank. Really close mirror image to what I'm looking at. We have highway frontage on 93. We have a side road access. We have a neighborhood that is actually more aggressive. This one directly borders a residential area. Caveat, I'm not a very good photographer, and it didn't rain for 3 weeks when I take these photos. But if we think back in our memory bank, I think South State did a really good job, especially along the side access road and in the back. They've used, and you're gonna hear me say this a lot, they've used landscape to really kind of incorporate the parking lot. And if you're there in the parking lot, you can tell, but from the outside looking in, I think they've done a really, really good job of kind of hiding, lack of a better term, or incorporating into the system there. Caveat, I have an employee that lives in this neighborhood, a few blocks down, right? There's a restaurant that used to be there. It's going to be redeveloped into something else right across the road. There's this bank. No negative effect on the neighborhood, no negative effect on them. The only thing that they have is they have access, to a bank. Second thing is a slightly different land use. Again, it just happens to be a bank. A very good visualization along 93. This is First Citizens Bank. It is slightly different. The neighborhood is obviously farther off. What I really wanted to highlight here is that there is a sidewalk. We have a sidewalk incorporated into this rezoning proposal. And I really love this tree line kind of going down the side of the road. And I'm almost envisioning what we're going to do, maybe put those together, right, where there's a sidewalk, there's trees, there's overgrowth, to kind of hide the business from the neighborhoods and things like that. But again, you can hear landscaping helping with a lot of these things. A little different look. This is McKinnis Orthodontics. We're going to deal with some topography on that parcel as well. Not nearly as strict as this, but as we can look off in the distance there, right across, there's a road coming behind, there's a neighborhood directly behind it. This almost gives a visual of what we could look at. If we look on the backside, it's a very, very large structure, right? But as we go back into the neighborhood and what we're looking back with our topography, if we were to do a two-story thing or something of that nature, probably do something similar. So as we go back into the land use and into the community, it gets smaller. It doesn't actually get bigger. This is the property I currently own. So this is 402 College Avenue. This would probably, again, we're looking at land use, how it kind of goes up and back, and how there's a two-story system here. Not exactly what we're looking at on this new property, but it's an example. Also a lot more along the lines of scale. If we were to look, it would be something much closer to this than those others. One thing I'd like to point out, and again, we're looking at smaller screens. So there's a very, very large structure behind us, right? And if we look at what they've done on the back, they've done a really good job of having a conversation with me and working with me and putting in landscaping and trees. And we've got 20-foot trees now kind of separating us that are going to bring this building down. Give it 2 or 3 years and it's really going to grow out. And then I kind of point out to the front side, right there by our signage, it looks pretty bad. And that's because they haven't finished their building. The landscaping there is not good. So again, I think if we talk about rezoning and things, we can use, and going into neighborhoods, right, that's what we're worried about, is that we can use landscaping and we can use things to kind of help kind of ease our way, into our community. So that's kind of what we're looking at. That is not.
That's a different, that's the next one.
That's not. So, long story short here, we have a piece of property that is on what we consider a major artery, right? That is currently residential, that has been highlighted, that it should be commercial according to the comprehensive plan. Again, full disclosure, I live here in Clemson, I work here in Clemson. If we build something and if it's a single use or multi-use, we want to have things for all of the community, but especially the community behind us. So we'd like to work with the people in that community to find solutions. Caveats are there are lots of people, right? We can't make everyone happy, but I will promise to listen to anyone. That's kind of my spiel.
So, first of all, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think the pictures help a lot, but the proposal for this and the rezoning is for a pharmacy to go there for.
That's what I'm looking at right now, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, to be clear, I'm looking at a rezone. I'm not necessarily.
No, I understand that.
I am planning on putting a pharmacy there, yes.
Right, I was just looking at the application.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
I just like to add a couple things. Again, he's going for a rezoning. If the next stage would be development, and any sort of development that went in there would have to go in front of the Board of Architectural Review. And there's just a couple standards I'd just like to kind of throw out there that would be applicable to any development that went in there. Where it butts against a residential property, there'd be a 25-foot buffer requirement. So similar to actually behind the moto, the one that he was just referencing to, that's a 25-foot buffer. And so if you want to drive by there to see what can be done in that kind of buffering, that is a good example of a modern 25-foot buffer. Also, there would be required sidewalks on all street frontages as well as street trees. And the height limitation is 40 feet for the proposed district that he's looking at. So I think those are just kind of the baselines I just want to throw out there for whatever development gets in. Although he is, you know, we know that he's planning on doing a pharmacy, anything could go there once it is rezoned. But those would be the baselines they would have to follow.
Is Curtis the frontage, or is 93 the front, or is
For what reasoning?
setback requirements on the,
Oh, we
so
would,
like, is it 25 feet on the rear of the property?
well, no, that's where it butts a residential, so it's the side is where the 25-foot.
Or is there not also a setback?
What?
Doesn't it abut it on 3 sides?
No, it only abuts a residential property on one side.
Okay, so
And then
the
there's
street
streets
cuts
on 3 sides, where there'd be where there's a residential property across the street from a street, there's a 10-foot buffer.
Okay, all right.
One of the things, and I'll be clear, one of the things that we would look at is we're looking at either standalone or something similar to this. We'd have to have parking, right? So I'm not planning on, we're looking at drive-up businesses, because we're gonna be in a commuter type situation. So we'd have to have parking, so we're not gonna have, like, when we say something like Moda, right, where it is self-encompassing, that scale's not gonna happen. I can't tell you exactly what the scale will be, but I can tell you that scale would not allow for adequate parking and things of that nature.
And I guess it should be noted that I don't think that we would be having like a driveway coming off of 93. We're trying to have as limited driveway access off 93 as possible, so it would be off that side street.
off Abel.
Is that the one that comes right there?
Yeah, Curtis is behind it, Abel's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we looked at the South State, you know, they have that side entrance. It's very similar to that use. I think we'd also look at First Citizens as well, right? They only have the side entrance off of the side road. I don't think we'd be looking at rear, mainly it'd be side entrances.
And as he alluded to, both the current comp plan and that was just adopted and the previous comp plan before that did call for these areas to be zoned commercial.
Any other questions from commissioners right now?
CP2 allowed drive-through?
It does.
Okay.
It's a conditional use though,
It
right?
has a conditional use and it changes buffering and everything else, but yes, it does as a conditional use.
Jacob, you answered a couple of my questions, but one other, are there any known water, sewer, or stormwater constraints in the area that CP2?
No, this is one area that we actually have good,
Okay.
adequate coverage for utilities.
Good.
Not one area, but one of our areas would.
One of
One of them.
Okay.
Yeah, but-
All right,
correct.
thank you.
It's, I know we've discussed in that along 93 and some of the other areas over there about, I'm trying to remember where we were on the buffer update and stuff like that with the connected parking and things like that. Those provisions are in place if the rest of the residential properties became available to go commercial, to do
Oh,
connected
yes.
parking so that we wouldn't have.
Correct. If, we've already discussed with Tom that he would be expected to provide the city with an easement for the adjacent properties, that if the adjacent properties, say, going towards the Chinese Christian Church, were never to rezone to commercial, we would connect those through the parking lots to have, basically creating a frontage road.
Just wanted to make sure that was already in play. I knew we had talked about it.
Yep.
We lost it after it left us.
Yep.
And I'm amenable to all those things. I've already got it with my guys to kind of start when they're throwing plans out to have that so that we can try to protect the neighborhood, right? Have all that traffic come through to the side.
Any other questions at this point? Okay, well, thank you very much. Since this is an action item, this is an opportunity for if anybody from the public would like to speak, to come up and address the commission.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Henry Young. I live at 137 Parkland Road. Used to live in the neighborhood, which we was raised in. We call Abel. We don't need another drugstore in the city. We got 5 already. You see Harris Teeter's is coming, they're gonna have a drugstore. You got CVS on down here, you got Walmart, you got Ingles, you got Publix. So why another one? And why in the neighborhood? Which, years ago, they tried to put a restaurant in the neighborhood, and that was stopped. And our neighborhood was supposed to be grandfathered in as residential, never to be commercial. And turning off of Abel Road, off of 93, there's kids in the neighborhood. They got signs up, kids playing. So why turn off that road for a drugstore, pharmacy? We already have 5 pharmacies in the city, already. So I see no need for a pharmacy to come close to a residential neighborhood and a church. You gotta look at Abel Baptist Churches on Abel Road. And we got members that sometimes walks to church, even though they just put in sidewalks, but you still, those sidewalks, sometimes you gotta stop and let the other car come in and go by. So I don't think we need another drugstore in Abel community. We just don't need that in our community right now.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Appreciate your comment. Any other comments?
Good evening, Commission. My name is Lisa Bennett. I live at 126 Curtis Circle in the Abel community. I also agree with Mr. Young with the fact that we do not need another pharmacy, especially one in our community. One of the issues that we already have, especially when the students are in town, is our ability to be able to get out on Highway 93 as it is. People come through there speeding constantly. It's gotten worse since all of the other housing developments, the student housing developments, have come along Highway 93, and it's dangerous. Not just for our kids in the community, but for us who are trying to just get out on Highway 93 as it is. I mean, people come through there flying, going 55, 60 miles an hour, and it's a 40 speed limit zone. So I wholeheartedly believe that the traffic that would increase due to this, this pharmacy coming into our community would be detrimental to us, to our children's safety. And I just wholeheartedly believe that we should keep this property zoned residential instead of commercial.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anybody else?
How y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. My name is Nikki Young, and I live at 584 Old Greenville Highway, right next to the facility. Met the gentleman, knocked on the door, I met him, and he said that they were wanting to put a pharmacist there. And when he spoke to me, like I told him, I said, well, I thought that we'll never be able to put businesses here, being that it was a residential area. And he said, no, they're planning on making it all, you know, businesses going down that line. I know we would never be interested in selling our property, you know. I just don't want a pharmacy right next door to my home, you know. I know we fought hard to keep that type of traffic out of our neighborhood, you know, with Clemson Police Department. So to put a pharmacy right there, that would kind of just be a smack in the face, you know, for all the hard work that we have did to have a beautiful neighborhood. Like, I would love it if he would choose to build a house and put a house and bring a family there. We would love it, because I got nieces that walk from the neighborhood on around and up to my home. So just to have something that's gonna carry that type of traffic with the kids that is in the neighborhood, I just don't think it'd be a good idea, you know. I would love a neighbor there, or a couple of homes that, you know, right there in that spot. That would be wonderful. But to have a business right there in our neighborhood, I don't think it'd be a good idea.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Young. Is there anybody else who would like to speak?
My name is Jackie Young, and that was my cousin, Nikki Young, who spoke. Our grandmother worked hard for where Nikki lives at. It was zoned for residents. We beg y'all to keep it as a neighborhood. We don't want no drugs. We don't want to give nobody in the idea a spot to break into. That's what y'all looking for. Keep it a neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Young.
Or if they can put it maybe in some of y'all neighborhoods, might be better. But in our neighborhood, come on. I guess y'all plan on hiring more police officers.
Is there anybody else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Russell Oversby. I grew up in Abel community, owned property in Abel community. I guess I'm a little bit perplexed as to how it is. I know you got your guidelines that you actually zone it to make it available for commercial property. Being it is a neighborhood, I appreciate those photos, but in those photos, all those other neighborhoods, there's a road that has access that can take it, bypass it, and get all around it. But if you're sitting there on the corner of Abel and Highway 93, you have limitations. The other thing that's gonna pose a problem is you're gonna be bringing commercial trucks in there, into a neighborhood, which is nothing more than a risk. So you start talking about access. And if there was an emergency, you still dealing with all of your emergency response that has to come in and do whatever they need to do. Trust me, I'm not against anybody making a couple of bucks on having some property. But when you infringe on the neighborhood, then you've changed the neighborhood. You've destroyed the legacy of that neighborhood just because you want to set a piece of commercial property there. That's the one thing I'd ask you all to consider. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi, I'm Rosa Graydon, and I was a long resident of Clemson, South Carolina. Now I reside in Central, and as you all know, that I do come and sometimes speak for the communities. I agree with Mr. Presley Young and everyone else that's spoken. But my question is to the developer. My question is to you. Where is the outlay that we can really look at it and not on film? Has housing not been considered? Because if we have anything in the communities, we need single-parent homes in the community. I noticed that it was Herbert Young.
Herbert Young is the pharmacy that is the current project.
Because I know that's a high-end pharmacy. You in a residential area where we're predominantly black and they don't have high-end money, because I'm one of them. And I'm just trying to make a point across. So I would ask you all, And have you, first, next thing, have you met with the city, have you met with the community? This is not Clemson.
Go ahead.
Can I answer?
Sure.
So, can I answer your question?
Sure.
So, I've walked by and I've knocked on everyone's house on the Curtis Circle, anyone who's touched with me, and I've also left, pamphlets for anyone else. I am wide open to conversations as far as we're looking at high end or low end. Hubbard Young Pharmacy that I currently have services everyone from very low needs to very high needs. In fact, insurances and things help for that. My goal is to bring resources to the community and bring opportunities and businesses and things that the community would like. And so if we're looking at businesses and things that, if I'm looking at a multi-level business, if there are opportunities for community members there who would like to have things in that community, I'm wide open to those opportunities for them.
Okay, so I want to rest my case, but I want to say to you and to everyone sitting here, it would be feasible before a decision is made that you talk to the community. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Taquela Young. I grew up in Clemson, and my family owns a few different properties close to the area that you guys are currently considering. So I just want to thank the council for the opportunity to speak about rezoning of this property, but ask you to reconsider the rezoning as we think about the long-term impacts that this will have on the community. While commercial development will bring economic benefits to this area, when we think about the other outcomes, such as increased traffic, where Highway 93, as many people have already mentioned, there's a lot of traffic already, and there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood as well, so that poses a safety risk, as well as pedestrians and cyclists, as we do have a lot of new apartments and student housing in the area as well. We also need to consider just general noise, light pollution, as well as the operating hours that will affect those that are staying close by. And also the property value, how that will affect those in areas nearby. We've heard a little bit about the environmental impacts, but we still need to consider the storm runoff, the loss of green space, and just consider how else this will impact this neighborhood in the long term. I would like to urge the council to please consider an alternative location for commercial growth that may be a better balance. And thank you again for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? I want to give everybody an opportunity.
My name is Tamara Young, and I also have a part of 10584 Old Greenville Highway. I was born and raised on top of the hill. I was there when it was just 2 lanes highway. When Ron Hurd had his little convenience store over there, then they took that away. Then they made 4 lanes. When the 4 lanes came, we had a world of traffic. Then when Walmart came, it's hard to get out of Walmart. Just imagine getting out of Abel. And I'm not a good driver up front. I have a hard time getting out of Walmart. And they be blowing their horn because I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting. And we don't need that. We really don't. If anything, something for the kids to be put there. Something for the kids in the neighborhood. That would be more better something for the kids instead of drugstore. The kids need something in Clemson already because the kids don't have no place to go. We got a little bitty park for them. But they need something bigger instead of a drugstore sitting there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. You can come on up. Yes, please.
Good evening. I'm Adrienne Jackson Garner. I'm the Executive Director of Little John Community Center. The community is very important to us. Decades, we've had different businesses. My grandfather had a nightclub, and across the street you had not Alfie's, you had Carl's Place. It was always continuous traffic. Then my family, we decided to put a community center at Little John. I didn't see our picture up there.
It wasn't commercial, or I would be happy to. It was an excellent example.
It's historical. But the key thing about commercial in Clemson, even when they put the apartments over at Aspen, I'm like Quayla and the rest said, I'm for growth. I'm for growth in our community. But you have to stand in the middle of 93 and see all the accidents that are going on. I know when there's an accident because when the kids get off the school bus, they won't come in because we have so many accidents right there at the Aspen and the Walmart area. Growth is good. A pharmacist is going to bring a lot of issues with my babies. My babies mean those who attend Little John Community Center. We're going to have the wanderers that's going to be like, oh, there's children in the community. There's kids that are walking from the neighborhood and from the pharmacists around the neighborhood. We don't need that. I know you want to build and grow your business, but right now, growing your business in the Abel community is not important. If we sit down, like someone said, if we would have sat down and talked, if that's what we need to do, before people buy commercial and change residential to commercial, we need to have a discussion first. I know you want commercial now on 93. Why? Because everybody downtown, there's nowhere to grow anymore. I understand, but don't grow. We still want to keep it a community. Community is very important to me and my babies. I want them to understand being what I think.
Address us.
Oh, I thought we were supposed to.
Yeah, no, address us.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, but I want us to understand the neighborhood of not having a lot of growth right now. You have people that are around, but the important thing is our babies, children. You have people that are looking for drugs now. You have kids that are vaping and doing more than ever. But when you have people coming into our community, and you said it's going to be a drive up. I saw those in Charlotte back in the 80s. They were not good for the communities in Charlotte, North Carolina. When you have a drive up pharmacist, that's not, to me, a Clemson fit, a drive-in pharmacist. We need to reevaluate another location in Clemson, but I think we need to talk about it before you spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to purchase a piece of property. You need to think about it and then see how the community feels. And when you see how the community is feeling, you can develop a relationship with us. And not just us, the whole Clemson, because there's a lot of things I've been to council, they discussed, they didn't like. But I think as a commissioner, your job is we need to start listening. When people come up and want to apply, first thing should say, have you done a town hall meeting? You can come to Little John and do a town meeting and discuss the property.
We got you. We heard you. We're kind of up time. There will be other opportunities. That's why
I'm passionate.
I know you're passionate, Miss Adrienne.
I'm passionate. You know I am.
I understand. I appreciate it.
Love my babies.
I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
I just have one question. I just want to talk while she's writing. It's going to be really quick. I'm Michelle Young. I'm kin to the rest of the Youngs fit up here. and we have family throughout the community. And I just have a couple of questions. Before you all make a decision, have you all done a traffic study? Have you all talked with Clemson City or Chief Campos to see about the number of fatalities or wrecks and things that we've had on Highway 93? Putting a business in that neighborhood, and my nieces, like we said, we have property throughout the community, so they do walk from one part of Abel up to Highway 93, so they already, either they cut through a path, which is part of his property, or they'll have to come around the sidewalk, which will lead out to Highway 93. I would definitely not want to get a call that one of my nieces or any other children in the community have been hit by cars or something, trying to dodge other vehicles coming out, because they're going to have to come out through the community when leaving that business, whether they come out on Abel Road or Curtis Circle, they're going to have to come out there, but you're still putting more traffic on that road. And I just urge you all to do a traffic study, see how many wrecks that we have, because you already heard my cousin is not a good driver. So see how many wrecks that we have on Highway 93, seriously, like, I urge you all to kind of do a traffic study to even see if it's feasible, if it's a good idea to even put a business there.
Thank you for your comments. Jacob, would you like to address the process of the differences in
Like a plan
of how things happen?
The rezoning is not for a specific use at this time. It is to allow for multiple uses. But when the next stage development comes in, that is usually when a traffic study is conducted. That's basically.
Okay.
Right.
So there will be a traffic study before like final decisions are made?
Well, there can be if it's felt to be warranted. Yeah.
You don't feel like it's warranted?
Well,
I
don't know
mean,
what's being
if you live in
proposed.
Clemson, you know the traffic on Highway 93. We can barely get through now. And when the students are back, it's 10 times as worse. So,
I will clarify that Highway 93 is a state road, so our state partners will determine, SCDOT will determine if a traffic study is needed or not. It won't be the city, but we work closely with them. And I don't want to speak for Tom, but I think that Tom would be amenable to reaching out to our city engineer to get some preliminary data and work through that. But ultimately, it will be the state that determines whether or not that happens.
yeah, but I do know because the city works wrecks on Highway 93, so I think it would be important to get that data too, as to how many wrecks that they work on a normal basis, which is quite often because I drive that road every day.
Yes, ma'am, me too. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, my name is Shirley Greenlee, and I reside at 104 Princess Caroline Drive, but I attend Abel Baptist Church. And everyone has summed up everything that needs to be said about the drugstore coming to, but could I ask him one question? Are you going to relocate your store, or you are opening up another?
We're evaluating that process right now.
Okay, so you might be selling that property?
It's possible, but not guaranteed. But
Oh.
we're evaluating all options right now.
Okay, so that is a lot. So, like they said, there's safety. We have a lot of kids that walk through Abel, going down to Little John Community Center. We have people coming to church. And as you said, I think you said they was gonna use that one road as access to go to the store because there's not another road on the backside. I know in the pictures you kept saying like, Reverend Oak said, all of those other places that you showed, they have back exits that people can go. Abel doesn't have that. But they just changed our one road to a one-way entrance. You have one way going in. So you only have one way going in. You either come down Raven Lane, which you would have to come in front of our church. And we have a lot of stuff going on at our church. We have Vacation Bible School and a lot of stuff that we have a lot of kids out there. And the getting out in traffic is hard. So, and I'll tell you, if it was me trying to get out in traffic, let me cut through Abel and go around this way. And then there where you have the hazard of the kids. So if you all would, please do not put that there. Like you said, we have enough commercial stuff, but we are in residential. This is residential, and Abel is a historical neighborhood, and we would like to keep it historical and residential.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Greenlee. Any other comments? Please come up.
My name is T.J. Young.
Wait till you get up here,
Oh,
Ms.
okay.
Young, so you can address the commission.
There's a microphone.
Right, there's a microphone and people online. We got time. We're good.
I'm T.J. Young, and I have property
my family do from Abel, and I was leaving from the church, and a cat bus hit me and my children coming from leaving the church. So it don't need to be another business. So I just wanted to say that.
Would you sign in, please? Thank you, Ms. Young. Is there anybody else?
Can I make one comment?
Oh, let's see if
Sure, no,
they
absolutely.
get here and then we'll
No, please.
let you.
Sorry, hi, I'm
Yes,
Zuela. I have something. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
Zuela Carver Young.
And where are you at?
I'm in Easley, but I'm from Clemson. I grew up on Abel, and
Okay.
we have property on Abel too.
Thank you.
But I urge council to carefully consider this reasoning proposal. While we may be told this intent is to attract a business such as pharmacy, once land is rezoned commercial, there is no guaranteeing it will remain that use. Businesses can fail, ownership can change, and future commercial use may not be compatible with this residential neighborhood. If a pharmacy is needed, let's find a location within an existing commercial area rather than converting residential land. This reasoning would bring increased traffic and other impacts to residents, and once residential land is lost, it is difficult to reclaim. I respectfully ask council to protect the residential character of Highway 93 corridor for safety and historical significance of the neighborhood. Ask you to reject this reasoning application. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Young. Were you able to sign in?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there anybody else?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Joanna Gant. I'm a resident of Abel since 1972. And since I've seen a lot of positive progress, and I've seen, well, a lot of negative too. But as a resident, I feel that at this point, for a drugstore and to come into our area, it's just not feasible. I think that as a community, that we have a lot to deal with in growing and communicating with each other and the city. But I would like to say we are very grateful for the sidewalks. As a resident, I see daily with the young people coming and getting off the bus and the traffic. Sometimes it takes a long time for them to even come in the one way, which I see a lot of positive with that. We have a lot of pedestrians coming through our community, and with that, with a drugstore on the other opposite end of Abel, I really do not think this would be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Camp. Is there anybody else? If there's nobody else, Mr. Teasley, if you'd like to address.
Yeah, I just want to say one quick thing, and I understand that I'm not going to agree with everyone, and I'm not going to get everyone on my side. That is perfectly fine. What I would like to do is encourage dialogue And so if we could set some, I've actually tried to encourage dialogue and encourage things. I just haven't gotten any feedback as of yet. So this is good. But I would love to set up something and have a kind of a town hall meeting and things and make this a community process. And as things progress or don't progress, but that's actually something I've looked at from the very beginning. I just haven't gotten the feedback. So if we could set something up, and then I'd also encourage. There's a lot of negative connotation with pharmacies and rightfully so. One of the things that we do in our businesses is that I encourage you to come see the store at Hubbard Young. We're a community pharmacy. We are community involvement. That's what we do. We have ice cream we have a neighborhood directly behind us now. We have ice cream for the kids. We want to increase sidewalks. We want to do things for bike lanes and things of that nature to make it more pedestrian friendly and make it pedestrian walking. But those are things that we could look at in the future. But I really would like to have that town hall meeting if possible. And whenever this is done, I can set up something afterwards.
Good comments. So, at this point, do any of the commissioners have any comments they want to make? Commissioner Crowley?
Yeah, I mean, we'll fire away.
Yeah, we'll just go down the line.
I was gonna see, Jacob, you can help with this, because I don't have the zoom in map, but the distinction between the residential reinvestment area over there that's in the comp plan and the commercial conversion area that's in there, and how, because I could see where it's zoned, you've got RM 1 and 2 right there, there's a break, one backs up to the neighborhood street, one's on 93. If, I can't tell because it's right at the edge there where those are, and I know we don't go by the lines that it's, that's an indicated area, but.
This property and the properties extending towards the Chinese Christian Church fronting 93 are shown as being commercial on the comp plan.
Even the ones that back, that's all treated as one block that backs up, our fronts on wood front on Curtis?
That's correct.
Okay. No, the only other thing I think would be important to note would just be that.
I'm sorry, the two on the back, oh no, that's right, the field one. It's just the frontage. Yeah, it's just the frontage, two
Okay,
lots.
that's what I thought, is
The two frontage lots are the ones shown as being commercial in the comp plan. The two on the back are not.
Okay. So that makes it even more fun.
So you're talking about,
Page 5.
gotcha. I got it.
Yes, yeah. So those, if you go on the maps in the comp plan, the Abel area is specifically outlined as a residential reinvestment protected area. And then you've got the other two lots that are specifically targeted by the comp plan for commercial conversion. And because I was asking because there's 4 other lots that back up on Curtis there, and this may just daisy chain down so I was just trying to figure out where we stand on.
Yeah, it was the 2 lots in the front are shown as being commercial in the comp plan, the 2 in the back are not.
All right. The other, I guess I would just like to just mention that regardless of how anything goes tonight, that this isn't the final thing. This is, however it goes up here, it still has the option of going to city council. So this isn't a yay or nay for sure. I think that's the only question I had was the distinction between the 2 zones there.
Commissioner Franks?
Yeah, Jacob, could you speak a little more to just how the CP2 zoning fits within the broader vision for this corridor. I mean, again, you know, I've studied this comprehensive plan and land use, but I wasn't here when it was developed. So just help me get my arms around that.
Okay, so our CP2 zoning district is our general purpose zoning district, kind of our, you know, most different commercial uses.
Yep.
And also like things that are car oriented. We have very limited commercial space in the city. As you know, our occupancy level is very high. There's very, like, I know it was brought up, you know, build a pharmacy and a place zoned commercial. There's actually very few commercially zoned vacant lots in town. The envision of the comp plan is 93, most of the frontage of 93 to be auto-based commercial. So commercial that is, you know, obviously accessible by all the residents around it, but also primarily for automobile traffic. It is not envisioned that 93 is the appropriate place for residents to front on. Most people would not, you know, envision single-family houses being, you know, right on 93 because it is a very busy road. But it is a high-traffic road, which makes it, and it's a main road with, you know, 4 lanes, that makes it very beneficial for commercial use. And the city is lacking in commercial use and looking to expand because we do have many businesses that, you know, are needed in town and nowhere to put them.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
So I have a question. If this is identified in our comp plan as commercial, is it changed as commercial businesses want to use the land, or will there come a time that we rezone?
It can be both. So it can be as, actually you have both cases in front of you tonight. So later on in the agenda, we're gonna hear, across the street from this, a proposal to rezone for CP2 as well. And that one, there is no applicant, it is the city proposing to do that rezoning. And, but it can be either way, it can be either, and I think there's a very good chance that regardless of, you know, this application, that the city will come back and recommend rezoning of these lots, at least the front ones, for commercial in the future.
Yeah, we're about to enter into a zoning rewrite, I think when Jacob and I say that to this commissioner council, you hear one day we're gonna give you a book that's all new zoning. What will most likely happen is we'll come in front of you 15, 16 times and rezone sections of town. But regardless of this proposal, if you were to ask the planning department, we would say commercial along 93.
At 40 feet, it can be 4 stories. Is that 40 feet?
Yep.
Most likely will wind up being 3 though, based on what we've seen build-wise.
4 stories is kind of hard to fit 40 feet in, especially commercial, because, you know, in a commercial business, you're not going to have 8 foot ceilings, you know, usually. You're probably going to do 13.
In the process that it's in right now, so where does a no vote put it for Mr. Teasley at the moment? So if it gets voted no at the planning commission tonight, what does that mean for?
It means it still goes on to it still goes on to the city council with a negative recommendation rather than a positive recommendation.
Does he have a waiting period to do something different? Is there a year-long? I don't.
No, the trigger point is the public hearing. So at any point, he could come back, like if say you guys do a no vote today, he could come back the next meeting with a slightly altered proposal and be heard again. The trigger point is when it goes to public hearing, which is the stage after this. That's when the public's all encouraged to come out. That's when there hits trigger points of how long you have to wait for resubmission. And if you go to the public hearing, you have to wait at least 6 months. If you go past the public hearing to city council vote, then you have to wait a year.
Just thinking along the lines of public meeting.
And could we delay the vote tonight to the
Absolutely.
next planning commission meeting?
100%. Yes.
just to have a little bit more time to,
You could say, please go have a meeting at the Little John Community Center, invite the neighbors and
Yeah.
report back to us.
So in other words, we would pause, we would simply pause, it's not a,
You don't have to do anything.
yeah, okay.
That's it. There's no
And then it can
requirement.
come back after
Yep.
that, okay.
Because
It's helpful.
the rezoning does not dictate where we are, does not dictate what the facility is, just so the public.
Right.
The commercial CP2, just, there's a list of a whole bunch of different things. One of them is childcare, that could go there. Then there's had to be a pharmacy, but maybe putting pharmacy in there is just kind of done something that wasn't meant to do. But it is the property owner's right to do whatever it is zoned to within the restrictions of zoning, whatever the ordinance say. It may end up being a pharmacy.
Yep.
Who knows, but.
We do encourage the planning commission to assume all uses that are allowed in the CB2 district, not just what the intended use is.
Yeah, because we have no control over that.
Right.
Correct. As a, member of the public pointed out, the pharmacy could fail after the first 6 months, and something else could go in.
So this is a hard, comp plan clearly says that we're supposed to be developing commercial property down 93. So this was a weird one because those 4 lots are really small.
Right.
Yes.
And somebody bought those 4 lots whenever they bought them, 2002, whatever date you said, I'm sure in anticipation of the growth that was coming.
Now, are these combined already?
They're not.
They're not, so they're still individual. And I think they have to be this because any change has to be over 2 acres
No.
of the zoning?
No, because it's connected to CP2, so it's adding on.
Okay,
Yeah, this is not 2 acres. These 4 lots do not constitute 2 acres.
okay.
Yes. But the comp plan does identify the front 2 lots.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily the back 2. And it is a little bit of an unusual circumstance with Abel and Curtis and just the way it all works.
Yeah, I think as we go through I think you'll run into this same situation.
Yes.
100 times.
I do too.
And I think it's contradictory to what I said at the beginning, but one of the things I think that we are gonna have to do, like, this is the hard work of planning commission, like the comp plan, the zoning, and then these types of decisions are the hard work. Comp plan is serious. It's a serious guide.
Yes.
Zoning code is serious. It's serious law. Both of those are meant in a functioning government to be somewhat fluid. And as a planner and in front of the zoning administrator, I know how that sounds at times, but like in a growing community, it has to be, or you get so locked in. And the greatest inequities come when you lock in a land use and then like this is all it can ever be. And that's how you perpetuate certain areas from thriving or not over time. So I think that is something to keep in mind, but I'm not even talking about this parcel at all. I'm just saying you're gonna run into this a lot as you go through.
I mean, it's gonna be hard to find commercial property down through that corridor. This is a little off. So in the future, just from a staff standpoint, if it were rezoned, the front 2 lots, it could still be, the back 2 residential lots in the future could be rezoned to CP2 as well, because they'd be contiguous at that point to the.
You could request a rezoning.
Yeah, I mean, you had to request it and go through the same process.
Same process again.
Even with those individual lots, it's RM2, right, and 1. It's still could potentially be 4 patio homes if somebody bought it, duplexes.
It could be more than that, yeah. Do you know how many acres it is total?
0.8.
0.8. So it could be theoretically 8 patio homes there.
Which would be worse well, maybe not worse, but still be a traffic
No, I
impact.
mean, that's the entire thing fronting on 93 as well.
Yeah, or half of that could be, 4 or 2 duplexes in the back.
Do we know the dimensions for the front 2 lots, just the front 2 dimensions?
To be fair, I'm not trying to be rude, but that's not the question I'm asking also. I'm asking for a rezoning of the entire parcel.
Correct.
I'm just trying
No,
to mitigate some, or not mitigate, but maybe explain some of the traffic issues that could still be there if it were something else,
under the current
what we're having to
zoning, yeah.
deal with. Yeah. Just talking it through.
No, absolutely, not a problem.
I think each lot looks like it's like 250 by 150.
Each of the front
Each
ones?
of the four, yeah. That's a general size.
So, I would like more time, but if I need to vote tonight, I'll vote tonight. I do think I know we're not voting on a pharmacy or not, but I do think there is a need, even though people believe there's plenty of pharmacies. It's a specialty pharmacy that is a little bit different than the big box chain pharmacies. I work with a lot of patients that can find things at these smaller mom and pop pharmacies that they can't find other places. So I feel like there is a need. I love the idea that there's going to be a parking lot that you can just park and go in easily. But I mean, I'll vote tonight if I need to vote tonight, but I would probably prefer to delay it to the next planning commission meeting, but that's just because it's the 2 lots and the 2.
Well, the other thing is too, that the drive-through idea is not, it's a conditional use that is allowed under certain circumstances and restrictions. It's not necessarily that it may or may not fit, so yes, you can do a drive-through there, but there are a lot of things you have to do to make that work in that piece of the puzzle. So it's not necessarily just people driving up and going all through all the time. But yeah, I'm kind of with Tanya. Don't take this the wrong way, but I kind of think there should be a little bit more dialogue maybe to get it through, and I'm afraid if we vote, it may not happen.
Any other comments? I think there are 1 or 2 ways. Would you be amenable to coming back to the next, or would you like a vote?
I personally would like a vote, and not, but I'm on a timeline on purchase, and there's some restrictions on that. The second thing I'd like to offer is that, again, I would love to have dialogue. I kind of have tried to have that already, and I haven't had a response. I would love to set up some meetings and things as we, seeing as planning is a recommendational body, we're still gonna have to go through the processes anyway, and I would really like to get that process started and continue this dialogue as we go.
The only issue with that is we lose all control from our standpoint. Once we vote, we don't have any say over that dialogue again.
Right, that's right.
So, there are a couple ways we can do it. We can vote to postpone it till the next meeting. Or we can just go ahead and vote. So, is there a motion?
I vote to postpone.
No, I'd like to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to postpone the voting for rezoning of 000-565-2026 proposed map amendment, Highway 93, Able Road lots to the next Planning Commission meeting in July.
Is there a second? Okay, if there is no second, we can't move on a motion without a second. Okay.
Can you say something other than a second? That means you're allowed that. a secondary discussion.
Oh, we'll
We
have
could
it,
sit
once you have the
discussion,
motion, then you have a discussion and you vote on this motion. It doesn't mean
I'll second it.
a second
Yeah,
motion.
so we get the discussion.
Okay, so we have a motion for RZN E000565-2026 proposed map amendment, Highway 93, Abel Road lots, to postpone until the next planning commission. With that motion on the table, commissioners, what discussion?
So we got this information on June 4th or 5th. I feel like things are moving really fast. So just because there's an urgency on one person's part, I don't know that, I feel kind of rushed in this myself, but I'm not saying it's not a great idea, I just feel rushed.
I'm struck that if we pause, I think we've got to be able to say what needs to happen between now and the next planning commission. I think that's critical. I mean, what information do we need? What actions need to happen in order that would help us make the best decision possible? Because I remain just so struck that it's aligned with our land use, our comprehensive plan. So that's what's weighing on me. I know this is all part of what. I mean, it aligns. It's not that it doesn't align, but this.
Well, two of the four
But two of the four
align.
is tricky.
And if it was two lots, it's
No
kind
question.
of a
No
no-brainer.
question. Yep.
I think the issue, if we're looking to give direction on what's needed, I think the issue is we have two key conflicting parts of the comp plan. We have the call for the commercial development on 93 and the specific protection of this area, which includes this part of the neighborhood. And what I would need to see would be evidence or whatever that eating up that backside is not going to eat into the rest of the community or eat down the rest of the community or damage the area that we have called out to preserve as residential. Like you said, the front two, that's a no-brainer, that's no problem. But if you had four across the front, I don't know if you could make a building work there, but coming back, and even if it wasn't even in the protected area, like that's just a little trickier, but now it's like, okay, that's a judgment call, but we have one thing that calls specifically for protection of these two and one for redoing these two, and it's like, that, I don't know. I think that's what I would need to see, is because it's not just the rezoning of the commercial on 93, the bigger impact, I think, is the rezoning of the back two.
I want to, is that appropriate? Sorry.
Yes.
I want to squash the sentiment that this would continue to creep. That is not possible unless this commission votes to rezone other parcels within the neighborhood. I think that's a foul. I mean, I'm not picking on you, John, but I do think that that's a sentiment that comes a lot in the community, is if we do this, it'll continue to creep. That's only possible if this body and the city council vote to change the zoning on other parcels that we're not talking about this evening. So I just want to keep us on point there.
Look, I didn't necessarily mean creep with the rezoning. I meant that turning that corner of
Right,
Abel
once
and
you
Curtis
do that.
from residential to commercial, that wouldn't deteriorate from the residential character back there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
My bad.
Not a creep. Not all this is going commercial. That wasn't.
But, I'm
What
sorry,
else?
back to Mr. Hyatt's, well, actually, no, I'm sorry, Mr. Frank's point is, you're saying you're delaying for, what would be the actual item that we could do to help you with that? That's my only point.
I think it'd be more of a positive impact from the community.
Oh, okay. So that's,
That's what I mean, is if, all we've heard is that it's gonna take away.
Had no one showed up to the meeting tonight, I would have been inclined to vote for it, but I was 50-50 coming in.
I would have too.
That's what I mean, so a neighborhood
50
meeting.
coming into the meeting.
A neighborhood meeting, yes.
Yeah, if we could figure out a way to
And I will say, the neighborhood, we're talking, I know we've had neighborhood meetings before, and a developer speaks to the neighborhood, and they are a corporation, they can do amazing things, they've got resources. We're talking about a mom and pop shop building a pharmacy or something in this space. So there can be dialogue, but there's not going to be as much as the other development that we had. So I think when the neighbors look at the map, this is an area that will be zoned commercial on 93. So I think that's something that you all need to look through that lens to know, even though it's maybe a home today, it one day could be a commercial space along that corridor. And I think that part, some of the discussion tonight to us was not wanting to change it to commercial, even though that's part of our plan. You see, and so that's what's hard, because we voted on this comp plan and City Council did, in the part abutting 93 is part of that plan, but the back part isn't. So it just kind of makes it a little tricky. But the neighbors need to know that this picture is where my house is, and so if somebody wanted to put a pharmacy right there, I would be fine with that. So I'm not looking at this as somebody that is far off from some of the proposals or things I drive by that bank every single day, so.
I think what she's saying, if you can't see her house here because of the curve, but if you went around that curve, you'd be at her house.
Yeah.
With all due respect, we know the area very well.
Understood.
That bank is not in her neighborhood.
Understood. We just need to have the discussion here right now because we're in a motion. What I would say is, and explain to everybody, we are responsible for the implementation of the comprehensive plan and looking at that. What's being asked for, we're not in control. Does a pharmacy go here? Does a restaurant go here? Does a physical therapy office go here? Does a battery store? That is not the lens that this commission, and we're a commission, not the council. The people, what we do is look at this and give our opinion based on what is written here. And I would encourage everybody to meet with Jacob and Nathan and Art to look at that. So for instance, the way that I would explain it is if a house was built there right now, okay? Let's just say there's a house there right now. We would still be having this same discussion if it was somebody had sold that and it was targeted to rezone and it came through and it was passed for the future, okay? It would always stay as long as I own that house. It would stay that, and I could sell it to you to live in that house. I could sell it to you to live in that house. You could sell it to the next generation. You could do that. But then if somebody came and tore that house down, then the underlying zoning would be what had been passed. So these, when we say, and I think a lot of people get mistaken when they say, when we look at our plan, it's not a personal, our plan. It is a plan that was spent several years of getting input, of looking at, it's a living, breathing document that happens. And so as Nathan had mentioned, and as Jacob had mentioned, the zoning issues are going to be addressed. And sometimes there comes what I call pocket situations. And we are not here, this is not a developer. This is a business person who does this, but we can't even do that. It's not like a developer coming in here to build student housing to say, hey, I'm gonna do this if I do this. That's not it.
Right.
I just want everybody to understand that this is a box, and this is a box we operate in. So if something happens here tonight, and we are gonna work on this motion, but I feel like I need to explain it, it's not done. Then is a public hearing to council. This is what's recommended, based on, and there has to be a reason given. And that reason and guiding document, and when we talk about comprehensive plan, we just print this out. If you ever want one, they can give you one, or if you like to go online, you can look at it. If you ever need help interpreting it, which they're very hard to interpret it, they're glad to do that. But I want everybody to understand that what is being asked for is, how does this fit in future? Because if you look at the title of this says 2045. We're saying by 2045, this is kind of what the city would look like based on all the different characteristics and inputs that happened over the last 2 years. Does that make sense? Is that a good explanation, Jacob? I want to make sure I'm accurate here. So here we are. We have a motion. We have a second. Any other comments before we vote on this motion to delay or not? And we do know the applicant wants us to consider going ahead, but it doesn't stop things from happening in the meantime, because what I heard is that he will engage with the community as he moves along the process. Absolutely. And the process happens, as the process happens, everybody needs to understand, we are not city council. That's not it. This is a land use thing. This has nothing with the applicant. But what I heard him say is, hey, I want to talk. And you got to remember, it's a process. So from here, that process would look like scheduling a public hearing about it. Then, after the public hearing, you're scheduling a first reading. Then there's another reading. But in the meantime, it gives tons of time to engage. And what I heard from the applicant was, I want to engage with the community. What I heard is, we want you to engage with the community. And that would happen. So that's just what I would like to say as we're doing this. So if there are no comments on this motion, we have to vote on, there's a motion on the table with a second to delay RZNE 000-565-2026 proposed map amendment, Highway 93, Abel Road lots. We need to vote on that. All in favor of delaying it, raise your right hand. All available in favor of going ahead with a vote of delaying the vote until July. That was a motion on the table. That's what we're voting on. She's in favor of delaying it to July. Nobody else? Oh, you did? You're in favor of delaying it.
I'm comfortable.
So it's two. All in favor of,
The motion fails.
say it again?
I mean, if that's the vote, the motion fails. There's only two, that's not a majority, the motion fails.
Okay, so let's vote.
Right.
All opposed.
All opposed? So now, do we have a motion? So that's over, the discussion's over. We're now going to vote based on our duties here. So I need a motion.
Since the applicant requested a vote, knowing where we stand, I mean, I feel like we owe it to them because they're the one before us, so we should give them the vote however it goes. So I will make a motion, because I feel that all motions should be in the affirmative, regardless of whether they pass or fail. Make a motion to make a positive recommendation on rezoning request RZN 000-565-2026.
Is there a second?
Second?
Okay. Any discussion? The discussion that I would have is, as we take a look at this, based on the request, either way it goes, it still can go, just like Commissioner Yoder said. If it is not recommended here, it still can go the process. If it is recommended here, it still goes the process. So that doesn't change either way. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So with that, I'm going to have a roll call vote. There's a motion on the table with a second to approve and recommend, not to approve, but to recommend RZNE 000-565-2026 proposed map amendment, Highway 93 Abel Road lights. We'll have a roll call vote. Commissioner Crowley?
No.
Commissioner Frank?
Yes.
Commissioner Yoder?
No.
Commissioner Hyatt?
No.
And I vote yes. The motion goes to City Council with a negative recommendation.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, we'll move to the next part of our meeting. With this is consideration of the city recommendation to City Council rezoning of Highway 93 parcels. What I would remind everybody here, I don't know if everybody was here for the vote. Was everybody here for the vote on the housing? Would you go through this?
Yeah. So this is the across the street from the lots that we're talking about now, the large field area that was once a landfill, filled-in area. It had been in front of us recently for rezoning for an affordable housing development. That rezoning to go to a higher residential density, the affordable housing project is not going to happen. They did not get their federal funding that was needed to make it happen. So when we voted on that to make it higher density, it was said that we would rezone it if that project did not move forward, because we didn't want a student housing developer swooping in and doing a high density student housing development in there. This is, so the proposal now is to rezone this to CP2, which is your general commercial. It's a very large lot, series of lots. Now, this one is very clearly in the comp plan, the entirety is shown as being commercial. There are two residential houses that kind of are in the middle of it that are surrounded, but other than that, it's not back up against a neighborhood, but there are two houses that are kind of surrounded by it. But again, this one is brought forward by staff to rezone to CP2. This is not a developer asking to do it. This is the city proposing to do it. We do not want it to be zoned RM4, I believe it is currently, which is high density residential. The comp plan's calling for CP2, and that is what we are proposing.
And
That's also what it was previously, correct?
Right.
No, it was not. It was RM1 and some RM2 before. So it was, before it was rezoned for high density residential, it was medium density residential. But the long-term plan for that, for the city's comp plan, is for commercial, and that is what the city is proposing.
okay. Any questions or comments from the commission? At this point, there are no questions or comments from the commission. This is an action item. Are there any questions or comments from the public? Please come up and speak. We will, but we have to follow the procedures. So if you just sign it, yeah, you do. I didn't make the rules, I just followed
I'm okay
them.
with it.
And
I just
so,
have a question.
and then we'll state your name and where
Michelle
you
Young again.
Okay, and you live.
And I just want clarity, just help me understand, so the property across the street from where we were just talking about was planned to be residential, but we're gonna put a business in a residential area.
What are you talking about?
Wait.
She said, okay, here's what she
Oh,
said.
Yeah, I just want
Oh, yeah,
clarification,
so-
I was trying to get some understanding,
okay.
so we were planning on putting houses across the
Yeah.
street, but we're gonna put a business in the neighborhood.
There is no
There's
current
no
plan.
neighborhood here.
I'm sorry, I know, that's what I'm just trying to understand.
Let me give you the backstory. So, it was zoned for a very low-density residential. We had a housing developer come and propose like 195 units of affordable housing there. That plan fell through. But, we changed the zoning at the time, so it was low-density residential. We changed it to allow a ton of residential. To get
Like
those,
apartments or something?
yeah,
Okay.
like 3-story walk-up apartments.
Yeah,
Like,
and I get it, I was just
Yeah.
trying to understand, like,
Right.
it's gonna be a neighborhood across the street,
Yeah.
but then we're gonna put a business in a neighborhood that's already established.
Then that fell down.
Yes.
That fell through. And at the time when we rezoned it, we said if this ever falls through, we want to go back and rezone it to what our comp plan says, which is commercial.
Right,
So that's what we're trying to do tonight.
okay.
Yeah.
And just so you understand what kind of apartments were going there, it was a company that works with cities and other places to bring in affordable housing units, and they said they could do it, but once you test that land, you've been here a long time, I've been around a long time, you know what's down in that hill.
Right.
And once they test it and do the engineering study, it's not feasible, and so certain areas of that are different, so that's the backstory on it.
Okay.
And we said, we didn't want just somebody coming in here and putting up a bunch of students there, because I actually went and applied at one of their things to live there and to see if what they said was true. And so that's what's going on. And the comp plan says this is really what it needs to be since it wasn't that. And that's what we're voting on. Does that help you?
Yes, I wanted clarification.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
yeah,
I hope
so-
that answered your
Okay,
question.
it did, thank you.
Okay.
Is everyone can tell on the map where it's going, what we're talking about? Okay.
I have a
So-
question.
Okay, wait a minute. Any other questions or comments from the public?
So you want the stores, they gotta go up?
You got it?
I got it.
But yes, it would be general commercial, so residential would not be permitted, but most forms of commercial, service business, restaurants, retail stores would all be allowed in this zoning district.
They would be allowed.
Yep.
But it would be a process of what they had to have to,
Yeah, we would
Build
still
it.
have to do traffic studies and, how many entrances there would be on 93, all that type of thing. Board of Architectural Review for appearances, required buffers, when the actual proposal comes in.
I have a question, so I'm coming to put my name up here. I'm Ethel Pettigrew, I live at 109 Hillcrest, and I'm really here for the part next. But I do have a question. If it failed the PERC test or whatever those tests were, because that land is all fill land, right?
It's all filled.
It's all gonna be right on 93 and nothing really is gonna be able to go back? Or is they gonna have to do an awful lot of fill right there to put
Well-
anything back there?
Correct, there may be a lot of engineering that goes into it.
And
If anyone saw that where the commercial is on that side, when they had to dig out a bunch of, amend the soils, or do what's called a micro piles, which are, basically big.
That's what I thought, because I watched that.
Yeah,
I've
or it
seen-
might end up being parking behind it and the business is up front.
Okay, thank you, that was my part about it, I was looking there, how the heck are they gonna engineer?
Yeah,
it?
there's a Burger King buried back there.
and the whole thing is that's not, just so you know, you are correct, because I was here when it was filled too. But for us, as a planning commission, I just want to make sure everybody understands. That's not our problem. That's the buyer's problem. But I know you got it.
But the only real land that's at this point is the front land for putting commercial, really putting commercial on it without a lot of engineering.
Who knows?
I know, but I'm just,
Right.
my brain's trying to get around it.
I got you. I'm just saying, nothing's guaranteed. There's so much work that somebody would have to do that did it. to prove it worked, but that's just not, we don't
That's not your
deal with
job, I
that.
know, I just was.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So, anyway,
Anyone else?
anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Again, my name is Tequila Young. So I just asked again, similar with the previous property that we talked about, that you guys just consider doing a traffic study, because that's a really big piece of land. That could be a lot of different businesses coming in, and thinking again about that traffic on that highway. Have y'all already, well, we didn't do it for the other side, so the traffic study probably has not been done?
Well, what he meant is, let me clarify. So this is just zoning. So what Nathan said, and it's a lot to absorb, and I get it. If I hadn't been trying to absorb it on my own and talking about it, I wouldn't get it. For us, for this box right here, so just, we have this box we have to live in. That's a state road. The city of Clemson can't say you got to do a traffic study. The DOT, whoever would do it, would have to go to them. And they say, you can either do this or you can't do this, or you do this and I want this traffic study.
So they'll take care
So
of that the next
that's
time?
way down the road.
Okay.
This just has to do with land use.
Okay.
But if they can't build on that land, that's somewhere else.
Okay.
And also, there would be a very big difference, because we don't know what will be proposed there yet. So if somebody's proposing to build a Target there, the traffic study would be extremely different from a Papagino's.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
I just want to make sure it helps, because this can be confusing.
It's a lot of information.
Right, and so please always ask questions, because we want, the more people that learn, the better it is for us all.
And myself and Nathan are, in the office, 8 to 5 every day. So if anyone ever wants to come down to City Hall to learn about this stuff at all, or want any information, we are very happy to do that.
My next question is about you said that they were looking at it to be residential housing, but that plan fell through. How long?
That was about a year. Last March ago.
It's been at least a year and a half.
It's about a year and a half ago. So normally we probably wouldn't want high density residential there because of the traffic concerns, but getting the opportunity to have an affordable housing project where we desperately need affordable housing, we were willing to do it for that, but no other use. No other high density residential.
We promised we would go back to the zoning that it was when it went to city council, that we would rezone it back. And here's what that means, okay? When they talk about affordable housing, there's attainable housing and affordable housing. Mercy Southeast is a company that uses tax credits to build things. And these units would have been spaced apart, and there would have been income restrictions, other kind of restrictions, yet they do these units with cities all over the place. And the type of money they were applying for, we've never had that. And it has to be a certain kind of land, it has to be
proximity to certain.
Right, and meet criteria. So the deal was, they got one in Spartanburg, they got it in Savannah, they got one on Butler Road, and you wouldn't even know, and every year it's verifiable. And so when we did this, I even went over to tour them to make sure this is on the up and up. But they couldn't make it happen. So it's not possible to go there. They couldn't get the ability to do that.
Does this committee know if there's any other plans to develop affordable housing in Clemson?
That's not here in
There
front
are,
of us.
but I can sit down.
He can sit down, and that's what I'd like for you to do, is to contact Nathan. But I was just given for an explanation part. Nathan, the answer to your question is yes, and he can talk to you about it. This was just a quicker way with a private developer paving the way and paying for it. It was quicker.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on the zoning? Okay, commission? Okay. Yes, ma'am, please. Again, same thing. You gotta sign in, say your name, because people are looking at you and they wanna know who you are. They may have just tuned in.
Okay. Well, thank you for allowing me to come and make an additional comment.
Of course.
My name is Lisa Bennett. I am a resident of the Abel community, 126 Curtis Circle here in Clemson. My quick question to you about this recommendation, for the part that's cut out between 3 and 4, that is residential property,
And it'll
correct?
stay that way. You're talking about the,
Yeah, the kind
yeah,
of
it'll stay that way.
Okay. Okay, so I just like to propose that the commission imagine being the resident of that particular parcel of property with all of that business centered directly around your home. That's a tough one. I understand that you have to do what you need to do on behalf of city council and your positions here, but just as a person, as a homeowner, how would you feel if that were your property with businesses all around you? I would also like for you to consider trying to find out if there are any other developers who would be interested in making that, that property affordable housing units, because that's something that we so desperately need here in Clemson. People who work for the university as custodial staff can't even afford to live in Clemson. I'm not sure if you guys realize that or not, but they literally cannot afford to live in the city where they work. The university doesn't pay them enough, and the property values in Clemson are ridiculous. So I would just encourage you guys to maybe try and reach out to some other developers who may be interested in keeping that property zoned high-density residential, because that's something that the residents of Clemson so desperately need. The people who work here and make Clemson be the vibrant, wonderful, tight-knit community that it is. Like,
That's
those are the people who keep Clemson running.
Well, thank you for your comments, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, since the public is there,
I have a question.
yes, that's what we're gonna do.
So before affordable housing, this property was asked for rezoning for storage buildings.
Yes.
What zoning were the storage buildings?
They were going to go, I think it was light industrial.
Yeah, it was the one that allowed some like wild stuff and people. were like-
Something that
Actually,
we,
I'm very
something
worried
we,
about
the
the
edge
industrial,
cases.
that's right, I'm sorry,
Something-
straight industrial.
we don't have in city limits. It was a
Correct.
redo.
Yes.
Okay, all
We
right,
did
I'm
not
just
have it.
making sure.
That is
Okay.
correct.
I don't have any other questions.
Any other questions? I just have one comment. There are a lot of limitations on that site. Everybody's seeing all these businesses there. But correct me if I'm wrong about power lines. Would you like to explain what that means?
There is a lot of easements across this property, both sewer, power, and actually even railroad, shockingly. But, so the amount of usable space is not as much as it looks like.
So here's what that means. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anything with power line run over it you can't put a building under it. Is that right?
That's correct, but you can do parking.
Right. So if there was a building up front, then all of that have to be parking within so many feet?
Yep.
It's not right up power line to power line, it's what Duke Power says you can do.
Yeah, different power lines have different easements. I can't remember offhand what this one.
So what they were saying is there's a lot going on that property. So that's why it met the criteria to get the tax dollars. And so.
It did not get the tax dollars.
No,
that's where they
it met the criteria, but it didn't get it to apply. So for us to go out right now and say, hey, we're recruiting you to come to this site, the density, there's not many people that do what this other company did, and they couldn't do it. So they have to approach us, and the city is always looking, and if they found somebody, they could always rezone it back. But right now, somebody could come in here and build whatever they could engineer and get in there, and how much money they were willing to spend to put every inch in there. And that's not wise, and that's why the city is recommending, let's go here first. Am I correct?
That is accurate. The people we know have the deep pockets to develop a site like this if it is high-density residential or student housing developers, and we did not feel that was appropriate. If somebody comes to us with an affordable housing project, we will absolutely consider a rezoning. But in the meantime, we would be more comfortable with commercial uses there.
And to be honest with you, that's what we promised City Council, and we promised that it would be rezoned back, so that didn't happen, and you have another student housing deal, and in that part, it would have to be super dense. So with that, do we have a motion?
I have a question.
Question, go ahead.
What exactly would we be making a motion to? Because there's not like a number and letters that we normally, so how would we say this?
So let me get back to my agenda. I got so many papers
You
flying
could just
everywhere.
tell me what,
Make a motion to recommend to City Council rezoning of Highway 93 parcels.
and then do I need to read the IDs?
Nope,
Okay.
because Jacob will pass that on. All we do is recommend it. It's up to him to present it.
Okay.
So you recommend it how you wrote it.
Okay.
You would say for agenda item C, agenda item B.
Right. Got a
Do you
motion?
have any more discussion or anything?
I'm having,
Okay, I make a motion to have a positive recommendation for action item B on our agenda, consideration of a positive recommendation to City Council rezoning of Highway 93 parcels.
Is there a second?
second.
Any discussion? We'll have a roll call vote. Seeing no discussion, Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Franks?
Yes?
Commissioner Yoder? Yes. Commissioner Hyatt?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, now we're going to the next action item. Consideration of recommendation to City Council rezoning of North Clemson Avenue parcel. Jacob?
Okay, this is again something where we're trying to bring, this is a city proposed rezoning, not a developer, where we're attempting to put this chunk of land in line with the comprehensive plan that's recently passed that listed this area as medium density residential. The proposal is to switch it to RM1, which allows for duplexes currently as the highest density, but if the middle housing ordinance goes through, would also allow for townhouses and up to quadplexes.
That's what?
Quadplexes, like a 4-unit, but if that proposal goes through, that's gotten positive recommendation for planning commission, is going in front of city council. If you're familiar with the proposal, it's the middle housing ordinance. It allows for quadplexes and townhouses, triplexes. But they have to go in front of the Board of Architectural Review. The occupancy is still 2. It's not a student housing district. It is a trying to create. I mean, I'll be completely honest. it's what cities were and towns were before zoning got involved and spanned them. So, but yeah. But that, again, what it is currently would be allowed for duplexes, kind of similar to, you see the duplexes that were recently built on North Clemson, that's kind of what would be allowed currently.
And this is also something we've been discussing at 3-4 different meetings with lots of input. So is there any comment from the public before we discuss?
Not for the name again, I was on this sheet.
Got to do it again.
Okay, this one. I'm Ethel Pettigrew. As y'all know, I live,
What's your address?
109 Hillcrest. I'm on Hillcrest on the house.
Okay.
You're fronting, right.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not on that location, but I do want to encourage the passing of this, because I've talked with a lot of my neighbors. They are all thinking this is a very positive move for those who are on North Clemson and those of us who would look at North Clemson. So I would definitely like to approve that, move that y'all approve it. I do have one concern is I already know that the house on the corner of Wheatington and North Clemson's been taken down. I don't know what that guy's planning on doing. And can we beat him to the punch on this? But
Well,
Under this, he would only be able to do what we're
under this, and there's nothing before you, correct?
nothing anything put in yet, right?
I can
He
put it
hasn't submitted
He
any.
hasn't submitted, no one has submitted anything. We got a demo permit and that was it.
That's
And
nice
it's
to
been
hear.
demoed, it's gone.
Yeah, you may get home.
If you need something, you got to come up because we got to put you on TV. And everybody's got to hear you.
Well, I'm Valerie McCormick. I live at 222 North Clemson Avenue. Watching that demo, that's a pretty big lot. My big concern was what are they gonna try to put in there? And so if this passes, that would require the same requirements for that lot would apply.
Yes.
They could only put in
Up to a quadplex, but yeah, townhouses, duplex, quadplex is most likely.
And you could divide the lot, right? Are we talking about?
No, that's too small to divide.
the corner of Wigington and North Clemson Avenue.
212.
Was where the demo was.
Well,
like townhouses are technically different lots.
I mean, but it can't, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about 221. Okay.
Yep. And the thing is you said you live at 222. So here's the deal, just like I was telling everybody else. I know it gets confusing because there's so much talk. You sell your house just like it is to somebody else, and they can live in your house just like it is to somebody else. It's not until they tear it up that this happens. So it could go another 100 years. No, I mean, I'm just want everybody to have a clear understanding. This is not changing anything on your deal.
Right, I'm concerned about the lots next on either side of it.
Tear it down.
Because I know that Joe Brown's family is thinking about it.
Right, and that'll be up to them.
Exactly. But just knowing what's the limitations are, if that ended up being
Yes.
teared down, what am I gonna have next door?
And that's what this tells you.
Okay, all right.
If anyone wants to come in and see the architectural standards and everything that we have, sorry. I'll be honest, we basically stole them right from Patrick Square.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else from the public? Seeing there's nobody from the public, commissioners?
So the yellow R12. So why didn't we make that RM1?
We did not feel that was, well, a couple reasons.
Well,
That's
that's
not
the
what-
other section of town.
That was not what was listed in the comp plan for
Okay.
medium density residential. It's some of the oldest buildings in town. We felt that they had a special character, and the character of North Clemson is kind of already being student housing, multifamily.
There's also a natural buffer there with Schenkel and Sam's Park that we feel like kind of insulates those particular homes. There's been a lot of discussion around those, obviously with the overlay and everything, but that natural buffer, I think, provides that. And Jacob's right. I mean, there are still residences on North Clemson, but it has transitioned over time. So.
Okay.
And a healthy downtown has a variety of development. So we think this fits in perfect with kind of making the old walkable downtown everyone wants.
Any other questions, comments from commissioners? Okay, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to make a motion.
Okay.
All right, let me get myself organized here. I move that the Planning Commission make a positive recommendation to City Council of the proposed rezoning of North Clemson Avenue parcels to RM1 to City Council based on its consistency with the comprehensive plan, future land use map, the residential areas framework, and its role in supporting appropriate moderate density housing in this corridor.
So we have a recommendation. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion?
Can I ask what we had talked about doing some extra standards possibly for this to make sure stuff was accessed from one side of the, like from Hedgerow instead of off North Clemson, or how the was laid out, things like that. And I know it doesn't directly, that's something that would come later, but I just didn't know if that was something that was still.
Yeah, we honestly think that would be most appropriate to put in the conditional use standards for the development, but honestly, that'd probably be, as the middle housing is progressing, would be the place to put it, but, yeah.
Right, I just didn't know if that was something that's like, oh yeah, but we're still working that, but it's gonna go later, or if we decided that's a bad idea to.
No, I think that's a good idea.
No, it's not a bad idea.
Okay.
And we can, I mean, alternatively, in the meantime, if something were to come, we can have the BAR strongly encourage it.
Well,
Right, that was my only thing, is if this goes through now and somebody pops in an application next week and.
our city engineer has been a little more forceful, because they need an encroachment permit.
Okay.
And if they have alternative access points, he has every right to require it.
And
Okay.
so strong urban planning is entering off an alleyway.
Yeah.
Which we consider Hedgerow to be an alleyway. So.
That's kind of what I was getting, is just if we didn't have the standard, is there a way to prevent us from screwing up what we're trying to do?
We already have it in place with our encroachment permit where we can require it.
Okay.
Good.
That's good.
Any other? Do we have a motion?
You
You
had one in
already,
a,
you have a motion and a second.
Y'all give me. So now we're gonna vote. Commissioner Crowley.
yes.
Commissioner Frank.
Yes.
Commissioner Yoder.
Yes.
Commissioner Hyatt.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Advisory items.
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Staff reports.
You got a discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
You skipped it.
Now we're gonna have a discussion in a minute. I want to get staff reports first because the discussion will be the last thing.
You want me to go?
No, I want to know if there are any staff reports.
Trying to think of what we got. The 15th, we have a public hearing for 1310 Tiger, and
We had the vote for Pine Street, which is 4-3 at the last council meeting.
Yeah.
It'll go for a second at the next council meeting.
yeah,
Plus the public hearing.
submitted the paperwork for that this morning. And, the rezoning, the Elm Street lot, that was pushed back at the owner's request. It would have been at the last council meeting. It will be next week as well.
Has he talked to you this week?
I have not had any communication.
Okay. So, now, the last agenda item.
Okay, this is the student housing district. We're still having a discussion because we're still working on some aspects of it. One of the things that has been floated out by several members of the community and some commission members is, particularly with the Daniel Drive one, having a caveat saying, yes, you can do the, I forget what 10 stories, but then maxing out, so if they were to build closer to Daniel Drive, you might not be able to do the full 10 stories right there because we gonna max it out at the top of Tillman Hall, or below Tillman Hall. Just to try, the university kinda has a standard, and we're thinking to follow suit, to not allow to be taller. And then there's a couple other just kind of cleanups of it since the last time you saw it that we're still working through. But it's generally, the idea of this is creating a district that is student housing centric, walking distance from campus, high density without commercial requirement. So, but this would be, we don't have, the creation of this district does not implement it anywhere. And there's still debate on where appropriate to implement it, to be completely honest with you. And some of it depends on what other student housing projects are approved, of where it would go, how much of it would go, that type of thing, if it's even needed. But this at least creates a student housing district, which is something that everyone's been asking for. But, we want to still get your guys' input, still more coming in. We're still getting input from different commission members and members of the community. So it is still under discussion, not up for vote at this time. Does anyone have anything? I don't know if they want to.
Has everybody sent in their questions and their comments to help better this yet? The one thing I would like to ask everybody to do between now and our next meeting is to get with Jacob, send in what you see, read it, look at it, get the questions out. They can share the questions with us, and that's how we make it better. So that's what I would like to ask everybody to do. That's the action I request, even though I can't do it. And if you got any right now,
yeah, if you have any questions right now, we're happy to answer them.
I just have one quick question. From a staff perspective, are there areas where you feel additional clarity is needed before we can get to a final draft? Or do you feel from the staff's perspective that it's there?
We think we still need to do a full, real in-depth. Honestly, we've had so much going on lately that we do not feel comfortable.
You really?
With it.
Really?
Can't imagine.
Yeah, we think we need a, basically a sit down where we have all the different departments that are involved in this and just kind of go through line by line. This is the next step for us.
Good.
So I can't say that I have something specific that,
That's
I know a
okay.
couple little things, like I think we are taking out professional offices, and there's a couple other little ones that we have marked up, but we still think we need to do a more thorough, full read-through.
Deep dive. Okay.
And,
Okay.
John, have you been able to get with them?
I have not. I was at the car repair place all morning. I've got my stuff over here. But I can definitely get with him.
Would you
separate?
please do that soon?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do it.
And
Tomorrow, arrange.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know I initially sent a lot of questions, and you all have really worked to address those. And so that's why I was just curious from a staff perspective, if you had areas, because I will specifically dive into those as well.
Yep. No, honestly, we don't know what we don't know, so
Yep.
we feel like we kind of need one more.
One more.
pass at it.
Yep. Okay.
I'll just say in general, I think, we got the by right height option in the areas where we feel that student housing is appropriate. So one of the things we're debating internally is, like a student housing district was called out as a need in Clemson Next. So we've been a lot of pressure to keep that going since that report's done. Now that Clemson Next is enveloped in the comprehensive plan, is this needed at all, and where is it needed? Because we obviously feel most appropriately College Avenue 93. Now, Clemson Next highlighted a few areas, some I disagree with. So they're, not that I'm the end all be all, some of my staff and I disagree with. So that's kind of the internal debate is where and how much and what density type of stuff.
And I think what they're telling us is before they can recommend that, they need to spend more time looking at
In fact,
really what that is.
We're kind of going the opposite way of, we have the areas now that we want it, trying to zone it, do the opposite of almost zoning the possibility of it happening out of other areas. Okay. So we don't want to see commercial areas overtaken by student housing, obviously. That's a lot of the discussion tonight.
So we're voting on a
is
student
not
housing. Right, no, but when we do, we vote on a student housing district, not where it's going.
Not where it goes.
That'd be a whole
So
separate
you're
thing to
just-
come back and decide where that is. That's a whole.
You're voting on the creation of it and then later. So like, that's our internal struggle right now. Like, it'd definitely be nice to have if we ever needed to implement it. But then, do we need to implement it anywhere? Because we're,
And right now, I think there probably would only be a couple of areas, and then there would be a couple of areas to implement things out, is what they're saying. So, for instance, I'll give you an example, and they hadn't said this to me, but what I'm hearing is, it may be, okay, you can't, this always has to stay this way, it can never be this. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, there's certain areas that could be this or middle housing, and which one's more appropriate, you know,
Right.
like actually implement a real section of middle housing, so.
So, and I guess I'm thinking, this can be a lot of money for a developer to have a student housing district. So there are areas where individuals own, I mean, this is just how it works, but individuals own homes. I would just like to know where this is going, and I'm not saying I have to
Okay,
know
I'll tell you
that.
exactly where the main discussions are. Daniel Drive,
Yes.
okay, that's the main one, but then also, you know, what was called Bob's Triangle sometimes, the Clemson next, so, Kelly Road, over there, behind, let's see, so between.
the triangle between 93, 123, and 76.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then also like, but probably not all of it, but maybe some sections of that in there, so those are like the two parts that we're thinking about potentially putting in.
The other thing on the table, which, I mean, I'm happy to share any of this on record, but you do have a lot of aging complexes that are not appropriate for transitioning to single family or being condoed out or townhome. There are some of those, and that's happening naturally. We're seeing it at a pace that we couldn't have imagined this time 2 years ago. So the internal struggle is, do you zone those complexes, which are multiple acres, as a student housing district to allow for more density there? I think the answer is yes, if they're walkable to campus. If that answer is not, do you then rezone them to middle housing? So inevitably, if these are built in the 70s, they will be torn down, and then it could come back as townhomes or something like that still at a dense, not a single family density, but not at a 5-story density. So that's the internal struggle. I mean, there are, this thing's pages and pages. There's a ton of hours of conversation that we all make each other nauseous over having. But, you know, we wish we had a crystal ball and we don't, so.
Yeah, we just want to make sure we get it right, obviously, because it is a very dense, very lucrative for, you know, could be a very, you know,
Right.
profitable for certain people.
And some people could own property and not know that this is coming, or, you know, so I was wondering, is the city of Clemson going to determine where it goes, or will the developer come?
We want the city of Clemson to determine
Me
where
too.
it goes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what this is about. That's why we gotta put the ordinance in place.
Yep.
So I say we, the city, staff, and council determine where it is.
Yeah, again, like I said, to kick off tonight, the biggest thing is that gets people is surprise, because, oh, I didn't know that could happen there.
Right.
Or I didn't know, I didn't involve myself in this plan or know about this plan and so we want to take that out of this process. I don't expect everyone to know the zoning code, but I think we can make it a lot easier.
Yeah, but once we have the middle housing ordinance passed and the student housing ordinance passed and our existing zoning districts, we're really gonna be literally driving through every road in town and, you know, doing the visioning of what is appropriate here and then finding the correct zoning to implement there.
So, anything else on this?
I was just gonna ask that, just, I know I'll get with you about specific stuff in here, but from the staff perspective, the general overview of this district, from my understanding, was to a lot of density, real close to campus, get it all concentrated. I was just curious if having all of these other available options in here, as, you know, like you can do townhomes, you can do this, you can do that. Is that something we really want in this district, or is it just there, like, because that's how the table got filled out?
That's exactly what we're discussing, and like internally, like maybe we were saying, take that out and then have it, like we're saying, Kelly Road, originally we're thinking, we wanted all that because we're like, okay, we're gonna have different uses in there. We don't want, you know, every single thing to be exactly the same.
Right.
Maybe what we do is we create this to really only be those things, and then we have middle housing mixed in with it, or some of the other RM2 mixed in with it, and it'd be different zones. That's exactly what we're discussing, and that's exactly what's kind of so.
That's kind of my
Thinking
thought.
about
Is
the
just
map,
so
it
that,
actually
you know.
affects the ordinance, so I know we try to keep them separate in some ways, but they are intertwined, so it's not.
Right, I just didn't know if it was one of those situations like we were saying zoning things out or whatever, like, okay, we want this density here, but if this and this are allowed, somebody who owns a single-family house there, well, if I can do 7,000 square foot lots now, instead of selling it to so-and-so to be part of this larger dense development, oh, I can cut mine into 3 now, and I can put 2 other things on it, and now I've got 8 rentals instead of 1, and that's enough for me not to sell it, and we can't put a big development there because one person stayed.
Exactly, and those are kind of decisions of what we
You're
want.
on the right track. And I think we saw it tonight, but I'll say this out loud. I've said this to council several times, but the places you enjoy the most, or that you go vacation to, or that you go visit, have, in a given street, they might have 10 different zoning districts in a given street. We're guilty in the city of Clemson, as are a lot of southern towns, of zoning out things to where it's like, I can't be next to something else. So like zoning districts that are different, that are next to each other is okay. It makes places interesting and fun to visit, and also very user-friendly for residents. Well, we are very guilty. 87% of the city is zoned R20. And so it's like, that's what this is going to be, and then everything else can kind of fill in around it. We want to soften those edges, I guess what we're saying.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure is if to have this for like, okay, this is our high occupancy, high density, and people wouldn't be expecting the middle house, like, oh, you can put townhouses there, great, maybe it'll be this, but it's a different set.
We're honestly really talking about taking out the whole 2-acre minimum zoning district thing, because we're talking about having almost, you know, lot by lot zonings. We might get down to.
Anyway, what I would ask is that everybody get together before our next meeting, get together before this comes up, and that way it's best. What I would like to say, is that good? Anybody else need to say something else? So what I would like to do is just to recognize the community who was very respectful here tonight, who came in calm tone, who had disagreements, who came in and followed what we're asking people to do. They treated every single person with honor, dignity, and respect. And in fact, it was refreshing to me. And disagreements can be done. And I just want them to know it is recognized.
That's good.
So, anyway, with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Let's do it. Bye.